Keifer, Tomkeifer, and I'm here talking to these lovely people from the television station.
Okay, so Tom, first of all, have you ever played in Idaho before, or even Idaho Falls before?
Yes, many times, but it's been quite a while since I've been here. I definitely have not played here with my solo band, and I can't remember the last time it was with Cinderella, but it's been quite a few years.
What do you think about this state or this area?
Well, what I remember, what I know, and my experience here has been coming through on tour. So tour is, the bus pulls up and we set up the stage and we play. So my experience is playing shows here, and what I remember is the audiences are just amazing here. They love rock and roll. I don't remember ever having a show here that wasn't just, a really great, high energy crowd, and those are my memories of being here, and I've always enjoyed playing here.
How is your tour going so far?
Well, it's been awesome. We actually took a year off. We started this year in August, and the end of August, and we just needed a break. The solo band's been touring almost non-stop since 2013, when I released the first solo record, The Way Life Goes. And it was building something new. So, normally I wouldn't tour every year, but we were kind of building something new. So we just kind of stayed on the road and worked at it. And last year we ended our tour last year, which we toured most of the year last year. We ended the end of August, and we decided to take a break. So it was almost 1 year to the date when this tour started this year to when we ended last year. And it was good for everybody. You kind of get to kind of recenter yourself, and then you come back out and it all feels fresh again. So we're a couple weeks in, and it's been really, really awesome. The crowds have been, very enthusiastic, and we're having a blast.
I love that. And then you get to go home to be with family. You have family. Do you have wife and kids?
Yes. My wife is actually a member of the band. Also, on my solo records, has co-written most of the songs and co-produced the record too. So plays a major role in the band, and we've released 2 solo records so far. The Way Life Goes in 2013, and Rise was released in 2019.
What's that like touring with your wife?
It's awesome. We're together all the time, and whether we're on tour or not. We're like, she's my best friend, she's my everything. So we actually work very well together. I've heard stories about couples who tour together or work together that they don't, it doesn't work out really well, but it's not like that. We work very well together, whether it's songwriting or coordinating the tours or producing the records. We have a very good relationship, personally and business-wise, working together.
In all of your music career, what songs would you say are the most significant to you and mean the most to you?
Well, it's hard to say. They're all different, and songs come about in different ways. Sometimes it's, something that you actually experienced, or I will say it's rarely very specific. It's kind of a culmination of emotions, songwriting, things that you've experienced throughout your life, because, lyrics to me are human emotions, and I've always tried to write about real things. So every song's about something different, and my songwriting has always been about real things in life, the hard times, the good times, falling in love, falling out of love, overcoming adversity, that kind of thing. So sometimes it comes from something that you observe other people going through, or maybe it's an emotion you've felt over and over and over in your life, or multiple times. So it finally comes out, but it's not about a specific event. A lot of people say, what did you write this song about? And it's like, well, a lot of things influenced it, Things like, it's a common theme maybe that other people I've seen go through it, I've gone through it, So I was asked this question recently, And my answer was actually one of the newer songs. It's called "The Death of Me," and it's on the Rise album. And that one holds a lot of meaning for me because it's a song about overcoming adversity, and I had a lot of struggles with my voice, and among other things with the career and throughout the years. And actually, it's a song that I co-wrote with Savannah, and she wrote most of the lyrics, and she knows me better than anybody. And she handed me the lyrics, and I read it, and I was like, that's kind of nails it right there. So when I sing that, we'll be doing it tonight. When I sing that song live, you know, I really feel it because it's about, you know, overcoming that adversity, and that, you know, the hook line is you won't be the death of me. You know, it's not. I know the title itself sounds dark, but it's a kind of the darkness is in the verse, and then when you hit the chorus, it says you're not going to take me out. You know, it's so. That one holds a lot of meaning to me lately, but I mean they all do for different reasons. But as of late, since she handed me that lyric, it was that one holds a lot of emotion for me. She wrote those lyrics, and I kind of put it to the music that it went to, and real happy with the way that one came out. So I feel that one.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. And I feel like right now, a lot of people are going kind of through adversity, so that probably means a lot to a lot of people right now. So.
Yeah, another song we're doing from that record tonight is the title track. It's called Rise, which is the same theme, overcoming adversity. So it's a common theme in the way I write, as well as Savannah's writing. She's a really amazing writer, and we kind of write the same way, and she writes a lot in that kind of vein. So,
what was the inspiration behind the song "Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone"?
So this is an interesting question, and like I said earlier, songs are inspired by many different things: observation, things you've gone through, culmination of emotions, and sometimes you're just making something up. And to be honest, a lot of people think when I wrote that song I was going through something very difficult. And the truth of the matter is I was imagining what that would feel like, because when I wrote it, we had just been signed to Polygram Records. I was on my way to the studio. We worked the night shift because it was our first record, and the overnight shift was cheaper at the studio, but we were working with a major producer, Andy Johns, and he produced all my heroes, the Stones, Zeppelin. And I remember driving through the hills of Gladwin, Pennsylvania. It was late at night, heading to the studio, and I was thinking about just how amazing this is. You know, how did this happen? And then I just got this just chilling feeling, like, what would it feel like if this all went away? And I walked into the studio that night before the session started, and I sat down at the piano and I started writing that song. So that was just purely, life couldn't have been better at the time, let's put it that way. And I just had this feeling like, what would it feel like if this just suddenly went away? And, life was good. And that's what inspired it, was just thinking like, I feel so fortunate, and life is uncertain, and everything could change, anything could change tomorrow. And that title kind of popped into my head, and I sat down and I wrote most of it that night in the studio. We were working on night songs, and Andy Johns, the producer, came in and said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm working on a song. And I said, I think you should hear that. And he said, that sounds like a ballad. We already have a ballad. Nobody's Fool's Grave. We don't need another ballad. And I said, well, just come listen to it anyway. So Andy Johns was a pretty rough and tumbled British, notorious, hard-nosed producer. And he was like my brother, and I love him and I miss him. He passed away. But he sat down on the piano bench next to me, and I played it for him. And I didn't know how he would react. because his first reaction was, stop messing around with that, we got work to do. And he listened to it, and when I looked up and I looked over at him, he had a tear coming down his eye, and he just said, he used to call me Thomas. He said, Thomas, that is beautiful. So it ended up on the second record, which Andy produced, so he got to produce it. But yeah, it was, it's, like I said, songs come about in all different ways. And every once in a while, like that one, it's just something you kind of think, what would this be like? Or I hate to say you're making something up, but you get a thought that, what would this feel like? Even though, not that I hadn't, obviously I had experienced loss in the past or heartbreak or, but that song was not, at that time, there was nothing bad going on. And the thought was, what if they're, so they're all different.
And that ended up being a big hit.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one.
Yeah. Do you have a particular band you love to hang out with and play with?
Well, oh my goodness, we've toured with so many people over the years. Poison's always been an amazing band to tour with. We've done a lot of tours with them, and good friends. Actually, one of our first tours was with them when their first record came out and ours came out, and we were both kind of unknown, and we did a few weeks tour when they were released, and we were the support acts for Loudness on a West Coast run, and we flip-flopped who went first, and Loudness closed the show, and that's when we first met each other. We've been friends ever since, and we've done some tour. I want to say four tours together. So yeah, they're great guys, and they're always fun to tour with. LA Guns, we've done a lot of tours with in recent years.
Speaking of all these bands, who inspired you musically growing up? Who inspired you? Who did you grow up listening to and really like?
Well, I grew up listening to the amazing, I could name artists for days from the late 60s and 70s. I'm a 70s kid. Graduated high school in '79, so we're talking Zeppelin, the Stones, Janis Joplin, Rod Stewart, Kansas, Yes, Rush, Tom Petty. I could go on and on. That era of music, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Leonard Skinner, Joe Walsh. I could just keep naming them. It was just such an incredible time for music. And I just took a deep dive into blues, and started listening to Muddy Waters, and not just blues, but the other forms of music, what's the word I'm looking for? Styles of music that influence rock and roll. Because there's a country element to rock and roll. There's a gospel element to rock and roll. There's an R&B element. So I huge James Brown fan. At a very young age, I used to sneak down to Atlantic City to Resorts Casino and watch James Brown. I saw him many times there. And Johnny Winter, I'm a huge fan. That's why you see me with so many Firebirds on the stage and a slide guitar. And I know that he liked Elmore James a lot, who had the slide, the famous slide lick. So yeah, it was kind of cool that turned me on to that at a fairly early age, because I think it's a really healthy thing for a young musician to not just be influenced by the current thing, but to kind of delve into what they were digging on and what they learned from. So I love Jerry Lee Lewis, that country blues style. The Stones obviously were a huge influence on me, and I always say, if someone says, who's your favorite country artist, I say the Rolling Stones, because so many of their songs have that influence in it. And so yeah, it was cool. I didn't know what Jimmy Page was playing was blues, They even had, Zeppelin, there's a lot of Celtic influence in some of the acoustic stuff. So once that light bulb went off, it's like, well, they didn't make this up. They listened to all this stuff and they created their own thing from it. So I wanted to soak in as much as what my heroes were listening to, because I think it allows you to interpret it in your own way. You know, in some ways it's a little less derivative of, you know, what they did with it, maybe, hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that was a cool thing that I was able to realize that at an early age and kind of dive into it.
What advice would you give to other aspiring musicians?
To do that, if there's someone, if there's a current contemporary artist that you're digging on and they're influencing you, find out what they learned from. Who did they like? Who influenced them? Because everything comes from somewhere. Everything comes from somewhere. And you can kind of then interpret it, you know, because up until then you're interpreting it kind of the way the contemporary is. But then you go back and you listen to it yourself and you can kind of hopefully put your own spin on it, you know. I mean, I was raised on rock and roll, but when I went back and I started listening to the roots of it, I think it helped me to bring something a little bit more unique into my writing, because I was hearing what influenced them. So I think that's good advice to the contemporaries that you love and inspire you. Check out what inspired them.
What's the secret to your success?
Just don't stop. It's that, you know, you just keep going. I mean, I love playing music. I always have. And I think, you know, I think every artist has their story of ups and downs in the music business and all. You know, there's no secret. The 80s took quite a dive in the 90s, and on top of it, I was told I would never sing again, and a lot of, you know, and everybody has their story. So I'm not whining. I mean, everybody has their adversity, and I think the secret, if there is one, I mean, I don't think you can bottle any one secret. I just think if you love doing it, you just keep doing it. It's like the saying from the movie, if you build it, they will come. So, yeah, through the ups and downs, you know, and there's been times, you know, you go out and you just play, you know, and you play for anyone who wants to come and hear you still, you know, or in the beginning before nobody wanted to hear you and you're playing for 10 people, but all of a sudden it turns into this massive thing. Just do what you love. Don't follow trends. Be who you are. Play what you love. And because if you're chasing trends, by the time you catch up with it, there's going to be a new one. So I think probably, aside from everything else that I said about just never stopping, if it's truly what you love and it's your dharma, as they say in the Eastern philosophy. You know, the most important thing is like be yourself, you know, be true to your own musical style, because if you're going after a trend, you'll be on the tail end of it.
Mom got you your first guitar. Is that true?
Well, yeah, actually, there's two. There's two guitars. I started taking guitar lessons when I was 8, and she had a teacher come to my house because I loved the Monkees and the Beatles. So a teacher came to the house, and she bought me this little, I think it was a Harmony. I still have it, like a 3/4 size acoustic. So my early lessons when I was 8 were really like basic chords and singing, because the teacher would put Beatles, you know, songbooks in front of me, and he would not only make me learn the chords and strum, but he made me sing. So maybe that's where the singer-songwriter thing comes from, because I don't consider myself just a guitarist or just a singer or just a songwriter. It's kind of the three kind of went together right from the beginning. So, but then the one that I think most people know about was my first Les Paul that she brought me to stay in high school with, because there was a local touring band that I was going to drop out of high school and join and go tour the East Coast with. And she said, I know that Les Paul hanging on McLaren Music out, you know, at the store. I know you want that. And if you get your diploma, it's yours. So, and I still have it. It's a Les Paul Custom of 78. And And that's a very special guitar, obviously, to me.
Anything that I didn't ask you that you just want to get out there and say?
No, I think it was some really great questions. I enjoyed the chat.
I enjoyed the chat.
And I just, I always like to say thank you to everyone who's come out over the years and listened to the records and come to the shows. I have nothing but gratitude for that. I feel fortunate to still be able to walk up on the stage and do this. So.
Well, we feel fortunate that we got to meet you and talk to you. You are awesome. Loved the chat, loved talking to you, loved everything you had to tell us today.